Broadcasting live from the Meridics v. OBS Studio Broadcast Center at Ford Ice Center in Antioch. This is GNASH Hockey on the Middle Tennessee Sports Network, and it is the final semifinal game of the 2026 GNASH postseason. The losers bracket final for the Henry Hine Cup. Mount Juliet-Wilson Central-Lebanon taking on one seed Father Ryan to determine who will get the second spot in Monday's final and take on Independent Centennial out in Bellevue. The 5 seed Mount Juliet making a nice run through the losers bracket after being dropped into there in the first round, losing to JP2. They got revenge on the Knights last night, knocked them out in the losers bracket semi. Father Ryan lost the winners bracket final on Monday. They want a chance at revenge to force an if necessary game next Wednesday and try to win the Hine Cup for a second straight season. But first they got to beat this Mount Juliet team that have won 3 straight and scored 17 goals across those 3 games. So let's take a look at the final scores from this week so far. On Monday in the Predators Cup winners bracket final, it was Nolensville defeating Franklin 2-1. And in the Hine Cup winners bracket final, like I just mentioned, it was Independent Centennial beating Father Ryan 3-2. In the second Henry Hine Cup losers bracket quarterfinal, it was JP2 MLK GCS beating Brentwood BAUSN 2-1. And in the Predators Cup losers bracket semifinal, it was Montgomery Bell defeating Page Summit 4-1. And then last night, in the Hine Cup losers bracket semifinal, it was Mount Juliet beating JP2 4-1. And in the Preds Cup losers bracket final, it was MBA beating Franklin 5-0. So the Preds Cup final is set. It'll be the 7-seed Nolensville taking on the 2-seed MBA. The 2-seed Big Red going to have to win twice to take the trophy, but they got to go up against Brick Wall Bingston Soundara for the 3rd time this season. Try and beat him this time. First game between those two ended in a tie. And the most recent one, 3 weeks ago yesterday, Nolensville won 2-1 in the first round of the Predators Cup. So, in the surest sign yet that this season is about to end, here we are about to decide who gets the second spot in the B tournament final. We only have 5 teams left playing hockey this season. We'll be down to 4 when this one is over. Hoping the game between these two will be better than the last one. Father Ryan beat Mount Juliet 9-0 back on January 14th. It was 3-0 past the halfway point of the first. Jack Boyett started in goal for Mount Juliet. He was replaced by Shepard Holsey. 3-0 score held steady through the end of the second, and then in the third, Father Ryan scored 6 unanswered and won that game, like I said, 9-0. So hopefully tonight's matchup between these two will be better than that last one because of the fact that, you know, it's a playoff game and you lose, you're out. Mount Juliet, some of their seniors who don't want their season to end tonight were a part of that 2022-23 team that lost to Ravenwood in the Predators Cup final back when they were playing as Mount Juliet Wilson Central Green Hill. What was it, Mount Juliet Green Hill Lebanon? I can't. Hold on. Let's go back in time, huh? Mount Juliet Green Hill Lebanon, that's what they were. Lost in overtime to Ravenwood. I need to put that game up on the Internet Archive page. Both teams ready to hit the ice for the 3-minute warm-up, and I keep forgetting here on the North Rink, that big scoreboard across the way don't work. I hope they fix that during the summer. I hate that. I have to look up at that scoreboard above my head. God, I hope they fix that thing during the summer. I mean, the Preds co-own the place. They They could chip in a few dollars to get that thing working right. And nice to have a game here that's not starting at 8:45. It's starting at, well, just a little bit past 7:30, but it won't be ridiculously late when it ends. Oh, they didn't put the nets out. They closed the Zamboni doors without putting the nets out. Got to shove the nets out onto the ice. And hopefully the officials are set to go as well, because we don't want to have to be held up by lack of officials. So while we continue to wait, oh no, the refs are at Centennial. Oh my God, the refs went to Centennial. Oh my dear Lord. You got to be kidding me. The referees went to Centennial. Not Antioch. Oh, my God. You have got to be kidding me. Oh, my Lord. Well, oh, my God. You have got to be kidding me. Well, I'm not going to sit here and babble for however long it takes the refs to get here, so I'm just going to turn the mic down and we'll wait until the refs come or whatever we hear. But, yeah, refs went to Centennial, so this game is going to get started later than it should have. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay, we are back, and the officials have arrived. Father Ryan have taken the ice for the warm-up, even though the officials have not yet gotten dressed. Mount Juliet making their way onto the ice. So we will have a game delayed by just under half an hour, or just over half an hour. So let's talk about these two teams. First up, Mount Juliet, coached by Alex Walker, opened the Hine Cup with a 6-5 loss to JP2 in the first round on February 9th. The next night, February 10th, they beat the Rutherford Rampage 8-4 in the first losers bracket game. Then last night, they defeated the Outlaws 5-4 in the losers bracket quarterfinals. And then last night in the losers bracket semifinal, they defeated JP2 MLK GCS 4-1. So let's check their stats coming into tonight. Jordan Antar and Cade Ellenburg, each with 14 points from 7 goals and 7 assists. Ethan Smith, 7 points from 3 goals and 4 assists. Reed Spencer, 4 points from 2 goals and 2 assists. Anthony Giampalo, 3 points from a goal and 2 assists. Carter Spencer, 2 points from a goal and an assist. Trenton Gorell and Parker Triplett, each with 2 points from assists. Sheree Aurora with a point from a goal, and Dallas Riddell with a point from an assist. On to goalie play, Shepard Hulsey has played in all 4 games. Played and started all 4 games. His record 3-1. He's played 168 minutes. Goals against average of 3.75. No shutouts. He's allowed 15 goals on 95 shots, turned away the other 80. His save percentage in the postseason so far is .842. Let's move on to Father Ryan, coached by Kyle Dora. Opened the Hine Cup with a 4-1 win over the Rutherford Rampage in the first round on February the 5th. A week later, February 12th, they beat JP2 6-3 in the winners bracket semifinals, and then back on Monday, lost 3-2 to Independence Centennial in the winners bracket final. So here are their stats coming into tonight. Gage Hart, the leading scorer, he's got 8 points from 4 goals and 4 assists. Let me check and see if they ever gave Sam Halloran that goal. I don't think they ever gave. He scored twice against JP2, but they only gave him 1 goal. So he's got 8 points from 3 goals and 5 assists. Ridgeway Lambert with 4 points from 2 goals and 2 assists. Curtis Newman, 4 points, all from assists. Hudson Laux, they gave him Halloran's second goal, but he wasn't even on the ice. So he's got 3 points from 2 goals and an assist. Jackson Bruzinski, 2 points from assists. Michael Jaskoski, a point from a goal, and Emma Kazi has a point from an assist. On the goalie plays Zach Fonsbeck. Played in 1 game. That was the game against the Rampage back on February the 5th. As the officials are making, well, we've got 1 official out here. Actually, we've got 1 ref and 1 linesman. Fonsbeck played in the opening round game against the Rampage, which Father Ryan won, so his record 1-0. He played the full 42 minutes, allowed 1 goal and 17 shots. Turned away the other 16. His save percentage in the postseason so far is .941. His goals against average is 1 even. Jack Carbonek has started in the past 2 games against JP2 and Indy. So his record is 1-1. He's played 82 minutes because the net was empty for the last couple of minutes against Indy the other day. No shutouts. His goals against average is 3.07. No shutouts. He's allowed 6 goals on 40 shots, turned away the other 34. And his save percentage in the postseason so far is .850. So Father Ryan, they rotated the goalies each game during the regular season, then gave Fonsbeck a start against the Rampage, and now they have gone to Karpanek these last couple, and I imagine they'll go to him again tonight, even though Fonsbeck was in goal for the game between these two back on January 14th. That again, Father Ryan won 9-0. Let me update the latest plays since the officials are here. All right. All right, finally, half an hour after we were supposed to begin, ready to go with the start of this one. Looks like Zach Fonsbeck going to start a goal for Father Ryan. Shepard Olsey going to start in goal for Mount Juliet for this first period. Father Ryan will carry the puck towards me. Mount Juliet will carry it away from me. I am standing behind into the left of the net that Mount Juliet will defend this first period. The benches side to my left is the bleacher side to my left is the near side. Benches side to my right is the far side as the game is underway. Battle for the last spot in the Hine Cup Final is on. Puck deep in the Mount Juliet zone behind the net. Dallas Riddell battling with Sam Halloran. He comes out with a puck. Riddell trying to chop it off his stick, and he and Halloran and Emma Kazi all fall over in the left wing corner. So we've got all 4 officials. Here's Jordan Antar with a shot from the high slot in the Father Ryan zone. I think it may have been blocked. Now it's brought out in front again and a shot. Missed the net. Puck cleared down ice down the far side. Now it's back deep in the Father Ryan zone as Mount Juliet makes some changes. Sent around to the far boards. Dumped back into the Father Ryan zone from center by Carter Spencer. Irish trying to get it out on the far side, and they do. Curtis Newman. At center on the near side, trying to flick it down ice towards the Mount Juliet blue line. That's Gage Hart bringing it in on the left wing side, passing it off to Hudson Laux. Laux on the left half wall. Moving out towards the blue line, trying to get to the slot. Had the puck get away from him for a second. Now he takes a shot from the top of the left circle, misses the net to the left of Hulsey. Puck coming around to the near side boards. Anthony Giampaolo trying to clear it out. It's held into the right point just for a second, I think, by Newman. Sent back the other way by Mount Juliet. They'll make another change. Icing waved off as the puck goes deep into the Father Ryan zone. Puck sent to the Mount Juliet blue line. Sent back the other way by Jackson Blevins. Here's Ethan Smith, left wing side of the Father Ryan zone. Trying to pass it to the front of the net. Flicked out towards the blue line. Held in by Blevins. Trying to send it down low. It's intercepted. Brought back to center by Danny Libby, who sends it back into the Mount Juliet zone, and he'll go to the bench for a change. Puck behind the Mount Juliet net, Jordan Antar. Firing it up the near side to center, but it missed his target. Here's Ridgway Lambert backhanding it to the right wing side of the Mount Juliet zone, and a shot from Sam Pinkston over the net. Puck held in at the left point. Lambert backed into Jordan Antar and lost the puck. Here's Ethan Smith to center. Back into the Father Ryan zone in the left wing. He's in the left wing corner. Trying to put it in front. Had to pass it off to Jackson Blevins, who dumps it back to the inboards. Reed Spencer. Trying to pass it out to the blue line. Passes it across. It goes off the far boards and out. Flicked down ice by the Irish. Sent back the other way by Anthony Giampaolo. Carter Spencer will dump it back into the Father Ryan zone deep. Reed Spencer going after it in the left wing corner. Trying to back it in front. It comes on goal, and it's gloved and held onto by Fonsbeck, and that is our first whistle after the first 3 minutes and 8 seconds of play. Draw is going to be to Fonsbeck's right. Won by Mount Juliet, and Trenton Grell tried to pass it over to Anthony Giampaolo at the left point, and it went off the boards and out on the near side. Father Ryan bringing the puck back into the Mount Juliet zone. Here is Hudson Laux in the left wing corner, shaking off a shoulder bump from Reed Spencer, trying to put it in front, went off a Mount Juliet stick. Up in the air, lands on the near side. Here is Gage Hart out on the blue line, passing to the left wing side. And a shot from Merrick McCullers misses the net to the left of Hulsey. Danny Levy keeping the puck alive. And Laux firing it across the front of the net from the bottom of the right circle. Curtis Newman grabs the puck at the left point, brings it out to center. Looks like we're going to have a penalty against Mount Juliet. Net is empty for the Irish. Danny Levy brings the puck back into the Mount Juliet zone, takes a shot that goes off the left leg pad of Hulsey. They blow the whistle. And I'm not sure what the call is. And I don't know who's in the box for Mount Juliet, so I'm going to have to pull up the game sheet here. Hopefully it's working right. So Father Ryan get the first power play of the game. 10:05 to go in the first, no goals on the board. Trenton Gorell called for interference. Draws to the right of Hulsey. Won by Father Ryan, but picked up by Cade Ellenburg on the far side. He'll carry it through center into the Father Ryan zone on the right wing side. Trying to put it in front for Jordan Antar, stolen by Hudson Laux. Laux passing to the far side. Here's Curtis Newman, left wing side of the Mount Juliet zone, ends up giving the puck to Jackson Blevins, passing it up the far side to Cade Ellenburg, who finds some space, left wing side of the Father Ryan zone, a shot, score! Father Ryan with a turnover in the Mount Juliet zone, and the Bears make him pay as Ellenburg roofs it from the left circle, and it is 1-0 Bears with 9:32 to go in the first. So Mount Juliet finally score a goal against Father Ryan this season. 88 seconds left on the power play. So a short-handed goal for the Bears. Father Ryan with a puck off the draw. Gage Hart, right wing side of the Mount Juliet zone. Along the right wing boards, passes up to the right point, Laux. Across to the left point, Curtis Newman trying to get to the front of the net. A shot stopped by Hulsey. Rebound cleared away from the front of the net. And out. Minute left in the power play for. Oh, and Father Ryan turned the puck over inside their own zone. Cade Ellenburg to Jordan Antar, who's shot from the right circle, misses the net to the right of Fonsbeck. He may have gotten a piece of it on his way by. Puck brought back into the Mount Juliet zone. Laux passing up to the left point. Hart passing up to the left point. Laux a shot. Gloved and held on to by Hulsey. 34 seconds left in the power play for Father Ryan. 8:38 left in the first. 1-0 Mount Juliet. Draw's going to be to Hulsey's left. Won by the Irish. Sam Pinkston trying to send it on goal from the right half wall. Blocked by Anthony Giampaolo. Pinkston out in front of it. Swatted off his stick by Blevins, and Giampaolo blasts it out. Well, he didn't blast it out of there at the far side. It was held in at the left point by Brendan Malloy. Shot in the left circle, and Jaskowski stopped by Hulsey. And then the rebound came out to the right circle, and Pinkston whiffed on it. And here's Parker Triplett dumping the puck back into the Father Ryan zone. It comes off the boards to the right-hand side of the net. Fonsbeck covers. 7 seconds left in the man advantage for the Irish. Draw is going to be to the right of Fonsbeck. Father Ryan win the draw. Bring it to center. Penalty time against Mount Juliet is up. They're back at even strength. Puck in the right wing corner of the Mount Juliet zone. Jackson Blevins gets to it, banks it off the boards, but it comes out in front of the net. Shorey Aurora having to clear it out of the zone. It comes to the Father Ryan net. Zach Fonsbeck having to send it away. The Irish zone on the near side, passed up the boards, but right to the Mount Juliet blue line, sent back the other way by Jackson Blevins. Emma Causey passing it towards the Mount Juliet blue line, stolen by Blevins again, and this time he'll carry it into the Father Ryan zone on the left wing side. Passes up to the left point, Reed Spencer, a shot. Didn't get through. Back the other way come the Irish. Brendan Malloy double-teamed, and the puck comes to the right-hand side of the net. Hulsey covers as Malloy and Reed Spencer collide, fall down, and go sliding into Hulsey. 7:12 left in the first. 1-0 Mount Juliet. Draw will be to Hulsey's right. Won by Father Ryan. Jackson Bruzinski passing it down the left wing boards to Ridgeway. Lambert passes to the slot and a one-timer from Gage Hart. Kicked away by Hulsey with a right leg pad. Here's Ethan Smith trying to go through center. The puck taken away, sent back into the Mount Juliet zone. Anthony Giampaolo picks it up, sends it the other way. Now it's coming back towards the Mount Juliet blue line, and Giampaolo again sending it the other way. It's back in the Father Ryan zone on the left wing side. Here's Ethan Smith. Carries it out to the slot, tried to leave it for somebody. There's a backhander from in front, stopped by Fonsbeck. That was on Ellenburg, I think. Now here come the Irish. Gage Hart, left wing side of the Mount Juliet zone. Around the back of the net. Avoids a hit from Giampaolo. Gets pushed into the boards on the near side by Jordan Antar. Tries to pass it up the near side. Picked up and brought out by Cade Ellenburg. Ellenburg crosses the red line, dumps the puck back into the Father Ryan zone. Fonsbeck out to play it, sends it around to the far side. Trenton Gorell grabs it. Carries it to the end boards. Battle for the puck in the right wing corner. Reed Spencer comes out with it. Falls over on the right wing side, trying to go to the slot. And the Irish bring it to center. It's Hudson Laux. Correction, Merrick McCullers dumping it into the Mount Juliet zone. Puck coming around on the far side. And a turnover. Here is Sam Halloran passing across to the left wing side, and Laux, who decides to toss it around the wall, comes out to the bottom of the right circle. Picked up by Reed Spencer. He fires it back around to the far side. Parker Triplett can't get it out. Puck carried to the blue line, and a shot from Laux turned away by Hulsey, who gets way out of position. I think he was trying to cover up the puck after it went off his glove. And Reed Spencer brings it out to center. Carter Spencer crosses the red line, backhands it back into the Father Ryan zone. Curtis Newman behind his own net. Brings it to center. Down the far side, into the Mount Juliet zone on the left wing. A shot off the left leg pad of Hulsey. Rebound picked up by Jordan Antar. Antar bringing it through center. Back into the Father Ryan zone on the left wing. Taking a shot from deep. Turned away by Fonsbeck. Rebound picked up by the Irish. Hudson Laux into the Mount Juliet zone, but offside. I think Brendan Beloy went in before Laux did. 4:34 to go in the first. 1-0 Mount Juliet. Draws on the dot in front of the Mount Juliet bench at center. Draw one by Mount Juliet. Passed up the near side. Dallas Riddell will dump it into the Father Ryan zone. Riddell behind the net trying to put it out in front. Puck comes up to the right point. And Blevins is taken away and cleared. Riddell passing it back up the near side from his own zone. It's back in the Mount Juliet end. Quickly cleared out by Jordan Antar. Fires it hard off the near side boards, trying to get it to Cade Ellenburg, but goes deep for an icing. 3:55 to go in the first. 1-0 Mount Juliet. Draw is going to be to Hulsey's right. One by Mount Juliet. Jackson Blevins sending it up the near far side boards, trying to get it out. It's held in. Trying to put it in front was Bruzinski. Went off a stick behind the net. Now it's out on the near side. Gage Hart going around the end boards, around the back of the net. Comes out to the left wing side. Now he's out near the blue line, and the puck poked away. It's going back towards the left wing corner. Trenton Gorell trying to clear it out. He banks it off the far side glass. It goes straight up in the air. Comes back to him, and he ends up clearing it out up the far side for an icing. Draw is going to be to Hulsey's right once again. One by the Bears. Puck fired up the far side. Back into the Father Ryan zone. Ethan Smith couldn't keep his stick on it. Here come the Irish again. Hudson Laux, right wing side of the Mount Juliet zone. Taking a shot in the bottom of the right circle. Stopped and covered up by Hulsey. Draw is going to be to Hulsey's left. One by Mount Juliet. Puck brought to center by Reed Spencer. Pushed into the boards as he brought it over the Father Ryan blue line. Now the puck back deep in the Mount Juliet zone. Giampalo sending it up the boards. On the far side, Trenton Grell tried to clear it. It's held in. Around the back of the net goes Sam Halloran, but they're not going to let him try a wraparound. They force him to the near side boards. Shot in the right point. McCullers blocked. Didn't get through. And Giampalo passing it up the far boards. Back into the Father Ryan zone for an icing. Carter Spencer couldn't get to it. 2:57 left in the first. 1-0 Mount Juliet. Draw a bit of Hulsey's left again. Drawing by Mount Juliet. Puck in the right wing corner, Jordan Antar. Flipping it through the air and out to center. Oh, then Cade Ellenburg put his stick down and Brendan Malloy fell over it. And that's going to result in a penalty. So they're going to call Ellenburg for interference, not tripping. So Father Ryan back to the power play, down 1-0 with 2:45 to go in the first. Draw is going to be to the left of Hulsey. Now Juliet scored their one goal so far, shorthanded. They win the draw, and Jackson Blevins fires it around the boards and out to center. Gage Hart grabs it, brings it right back in, trying to go down the slot. He's triple teams, has it taken away. And Jordan Antar from the near side clears it out. And Ethan Smith was coming his way, and I think it skipped away from him. Now the puck back in the Mount Juliet zone. Hart behind the net. Comes out to the right wing side. Passes out to the blue line, and a shot from Curtis Newman. Turned away by Hulsey. It went off his glove. Then he just smack it away with his blocker, and it's cleared out of the zone. Here come the Irish again. Curtis Newman, right wing side of the Mount Juliet zone. Passes to the center point, Gage Hart. Has Ethan Smith all over him. Passes down the left wing to Hudson Laux. Laux across in a one-timer and didn't get through. That was from Newman at the right point. Jordan Antar clears the puck. Under a minute left in the power play for Father Ryan. Hudson Laux at center. Oh, backhanded it over to Ridgeway Lambert. He stepped over the line before Lambert brought the puck in to trigger an offside. 40 seconds left in the power play, 85 seconds left in the first. 1-0 Mount Juliet. Draw on the dot in front of the bleachers across from the Mount Juliet bench. Won by the Irish. Gage Hart brings it into the Mount Juliet zone on the left wing side. Around the back of the net. Passes out to the left point. Curtis Newman moving down the left wing. A shot off of Hulsey to the near side boards. Laux with it. 20 seconds left in the power play for the Irish. Here's Newman at the left point. 1 minute left in the first. Newman. Bottom left circle. A shot stopped by Hulsey. Rebound cleared away from the net. And then a shot. A rebound try from Hudson Laux where the left-hand side of the net open was blocked by his own man, Lambert. Hulsey backed into the net and dislodged it before all that happened. 7 seconds left in the power play for Father Ryan. 51.8 seconds left in the first. Still 1-0 Mount Juliet. The draw will be to Hulsey's left. Won by Mount Juliet. Puck fired around the boards by Blevins. Held into the left point. Penalty time against the Bears is up. They're back at even strength. Puck out in front of the Bears net. But Blevins gets to it, and he'll fire it around the wall to the near side. And out to center. Jordan Antar. Now Cade Ellenburg, left wing side of the Father Ryan zone. Going around the back of the net, trying to put it out in front for Antar. It skipped away. Less than 30 seconds left in the first. Puck out at center. Dallas Riddell. Brings it back into the Father Ryan zone. Passes to the left wing, and a shot from Jordan Antar to be turned away by Fonsbeck. Big save by Fonsbeck. Oh, there's going to be a penalty, I think, against Father Ryan. A high sticking call. No, it's against Mount Juliet. It is against the Bears. And it's Cade Ellenburg going right back to the box. So Father Ryan back in the power play down 1-0 with 12.1 seconds to go in the first. Ellenburg's going to have to be careful. He gets 2 more minors. He'll be suspended for the next game. Jordan Antar talking to one of the referees. Is he trying to tell the ref that somebody from Father Ryan doesn't have a neck guard on right? All right, we're finally ready for this face-off. Again to the right of Hulsey. Won by Mount Juliet. Jackson Blevins trying to pin it up against the kick plate. There's a battle for the puck. Gage Hart comes out with it as it knocked off his stick. Comes up to the left point. Pass across to the right point. Hudson Laux off his stick and out. And that should do it for the remainder of the first. Puck brought back in, and a shot over the net from the right point goes over the net. Or a shot from the right point goes over the net, and that was Laux. And that is it for the first. Well, this game was held up by like half an hour because the referees mistakenly went to Centennial instead of Antioch, but they arrived, and this game got started. Cade Ellenburg with a shorty just shy of 5 minutes in, and Mount Juliet-Wilson Central-Lebanon lead Father Ryan 1-0 after 1 in the Henry Hine Cup Losers Bracket Final. I'll be back in a few seconds with the start of the second, but if you're listening in the YouTube podcast, we're going to go ahead and take you to the start of the second period. Ready to start the second period. Shepard Hulsey still in goal for Mount Juliet. Zach Fonsbeck still in goal for Father Ryan for the second period. Mount Juliet will carry the puck towards me. Father Ryan will carry it away from me. The Irish will start this second period with 1:48 of power play time carrying over. Draw one by the Bears to start the period. And it is in the Father Ryan zone, and the skates of Hudson Laux, as Jordan Antar tried to push him off the puck, was unsuccessful. Now Curtis Newman brings it to center. Passes to the far side. Hudson Laux, right wing side of the Mount Juliet zone. Oh, from the bottom of the right circle, he took a shot that I think may have hit the bar. Back the other way go Mount Juliet to center, but they turn it back over to the Irish. Laux and Antar battling on the near side, and they get tangled up. There's going to be a whistle. I think they might both get sent to the box. We'll see. Yep, Laux is going to the box, and so is Antar. Roughing against Antar, roughing against Laux. Oh, but did they give Antar an extra cross-checking penalty? Ridgway Lambert was indeed called for an equipment violation near the end of the first. So an 10-minute misconduct for equipment violation. How many times has that happened during this postseason? There have been so many players who have been busted for an equipment violation. Jordan Antar given a cross-checking penalty. So he was given a cross-checking and a rough. So that's an extra 2, which means it'll be a 5-on-3 for Father Ryan, I think. Okay, so it's a 4-on-4 for just over 70 seconds. Okay. Puck deep in the Mount Juliet zone, so it must have been, it was Laux who was given the additional cross-check, or given the additional penalty. Well, they were both called for cross-checking. Okay. Well, Gage Hart falls over in the slot of the Mount Juliet zone, trying to put the puck out in front. It's intercepted and brought back the other way by the Bears, and then Ethan Smith dumps it into the Father Ryan zone. And then it was held into the blue line by Anthony Giampaolo. 30 seconds left in the 4-on-4. Puck in the slot, and a shot from Carter Spencer blocked. Back the other way goes Sam Halloran. Halloran making his way from near side to far. Now he's on the right wing side of the Mount Juliet zone. Trying to pass it out up top, intercepted. Brought to center. Oh, Ethan Smith did not bring it to center. Now he's backing up. Almost having the puck taken away from him inside his own zone. Picked up by Reed Spencer. He'll bring it out and dump it in down the near side. He was behind the red line, just behind the red line, so an icing called against Mount Juliet. And we've got another penalty against Father Ryan. It's Gage Hart going to the box. They called elbowing against Hart. So yeah, Laux got the extra cross-checking penalty there. So now it's a 5-on-3 for Mount Juliet for 44 seconds. 12:10 left in the second. They're still up 1-0. So Mount Juliet with a really good chance to go up 2-0 here. Draw is going to be on the dot in front of the bleachers across from the Father Ryan bench, as one of the officials is at the Father Ryan bench talking to Kyle Dora. And now that chat is over. And we'll do this face-off. Draw one by Mount Juliet. Jackson Blevins brings it into the Father Ryan zone on the right wing side. Blevins passes to the slot. Cade Ellenburg, a shot, missed the net to the right of Zach Fonsbeck. Here's Blevins at the right half wall, passing out to the blue line. Ellenburg passes back to Blevins, top of the right circle. Back out to the blue line. Ellenburg, a shot off the left leg pad, of Fonsbeck. Puck in the right wing corner. McCullers pinning Blevins up against the board. Sent around to the far side, and Danny Libby fires it to center, but it was knocked down by the hand of Trenton Gorell. Ellenburg with it now. And the 5-on-3 is done. Now it's a 5-on-4 for just under 80 seconds as Ellenburg put it through the crease from the left-hand side of the net. Here's a shot from Parker Triplett. Misses the net to the right of Fonsbeck. Puck cleared down ice by Emma Causey. Under a minute left in the 5-on-4 now for Mount Juliet. Puck brought back into the Father Ryan zone, and a shot from Ellenburg on the top of the right circle. Misses the net to the right of Fonsbeck. Puck coming around to the near side. Danny Libby will clear it out. Jackson Blevins will track it down inside the Mount Juliet end. Under 30 seconds left in the 5-on-4. Here's Carter Spencer, left wing side of the Father Ryan zone, around the back of the net. Sends it back around to the far side. Parker Triplett passing up to the left point. There's a shot in the left point, stopped and held onto by Fonsbeck, got it between his knees. It was Dallas Riddell taking that shot. 8 seconds left in the 5-on-4, 10:18 to go in the second, still 1-0 Mount Juliet. Father Ryan can kill this off. It'd be a big kill. Draw's going to be to Fonsbeck's right. I don't know why they blew the buzzer, but I think Danny Corns has a question inside the scorekeeper box. All right, finally ready for this face-off to Fonsbeck's right. Draw one by Mount Juliet. Puck sent past the net to Fonsbeck's right from the blue line by Anthony Giampaolo. Curtis Newman with a puck. Penalty time against Father Ryan is up. They're back at even strength. Newman brings it back into the Mount Juliet zone on the right wing side, dumps it to the end boards. Behind the net, Giampaolo setting it up the far side and out. Newman could not get to it, but the puck's going to slow down to a stop before it gets to the Father Ryan goal line, so no icing. McCullers tried to chip it up the boards, but not very far, and Dallas Riddell put it in front for Carter Spencer, who couldn't get a stick on it. Puck back on the near side, Spencer. He's taken away by McCullers, tried to clear it out. It hit Giampaolo, just went over the blue line, and then Giampaolo sent it back in offside. 9:35 left in the second, still 1-0 Mount Juliet. Draw on the dot in front of the bleachers across from the Mount Juliet bench, won by Father Ryan. Brought into the Mount Juliet zone on the right wing side. Sam Halloran tried to put it in front. Coming to the near side, Nantar and Hart fall over while tangled up. It's going to be a penalty against the Irish. Puck out at center. Touched up by Curtis Newman. And it looks like hooking is going to be the call. And Gage Hart goes right back to the box. Not too long after serving a penalty. So Mount Juliet back to the power play up 1-0 with 9:14 to go in the second. They got a 5-on-3 earlier in this period, couldn't convert that, nor the 5-on-4. Now they've got another chance with a man advantage to double this lead. Draw's going to be to Fonsbeck's left. It's won by Mount Juliet. Jordan Antar, right circle, a shot. Turned away by Fonsbeck. Rebound in the crease. Score! Parker Triplett put it through the legs of Fonsbeck into the crease, and Anthony Giampaolo knocks it in. Mount Juliet immediately convert the power play and go up 2-0 with 9:03 to go in the second. Wow. Oh, and Mount Juliet with the draw. Here's Ellenburg right down the slot. Shot missed the net to the right of Fonsbeck. Oh, my goodness. Fonsbeck out of position. And they're going to call McCullers for tripping. Oh, my goodness. Mount Juliet won the draw, and suddenly Ellenburg burst through everybody and had a glorious chance to make it 3-0 and missed. But now the Bears are going to go on the power play again. 10 seconds after they go up 2-0 on the power play. They're going to go back on the power play. 8:53 to go in the second. The 1 seed in serious trouble right now. And I believe Father Ryan. Oh, it's a penalty shot. No, it's a penalty shot for Ellenburg. Cade Ellenburg is going to get a penalty shot with a chance to make it 3-0. He gets the whistle, grabs the puck, moves to the near side, brings it into the Father Ryan zone on the right wing. Fonsbeck comes out, Ellenburg in front of shot, score! He goes 5-0 for his second of the game, and Mount Juliet are leading 3-0 with 8:53 left in the second. Wow. Oh my goodness. Draw one by the Bears. Turned over to the Irish, who have got to get working quick. Puck back in the Mount Juliet zone, but offside warning. Touched up by the Irish. Father Ryan win the draw. Bring it into the Mount Juliet zone. Try and put it out in front. It's cleared away from the front of the net. Back to center. Curtis Newman, near side of his own, far side of his own zone, passes across to Hudson Laux. Laux around the back of his own net. Brings it back to center. Into the Mount Juliet zone on the left wing. Around the back of the net. Brings it back out to the blue line. Hands it off to the left point. Danny Libby trying to pass it down low, but it was broken up by a Mount Juliet stick. Stick of Carter Spencer, and that allowed the Bears to bring it out. And here's Shore Aurora, shot from the bottom of the right circle. Gloved and held on to by Fonsbeck. Well, that chance suddenly sprouted up for Aurora. And Fonsbeck having to keep it out of the net to keep this from turning into a rout. It's 3-0 Mount Juliet with 7:54 left in the second. The draw will be to Fonsbeck's left again. Draw one by Mount Juliet. Ethan Smith, right wing corner. Around the back of the net. Brings it out to the far side. Pass across, and the one-timer from the bottom of the left circle, and Ellenburg gloved and held onto by Fonsbeck. As Jordan Antar takes the opportunity to clear some snow out of the crease, the Father Ryan crease. They'll drop it to Fonsbeck's left again. One by Mount Juliet. Cade Ellenburg dropping it to the inboards. Puck behind the net. Emma Causey with it now. Trying to send it up the far boards. Held in at the left point by Trenton Gorell. Pass down the left wing to Ellenburg. Trying to put it front, blocked by Merrick McCullers. Here's Jordan Antar. Drops it down in the right wing corner for Ellenburg. Tried to pass it back out in front to Antar. That was stolen by Brendan Malloy. Tried to clear, held in by Gorell. Here's Ellenburg, left wing side, a shot blocked. Drops the puck behind the net, picked up by Brendan Malloy. Malloy brings it back to center on the far side. Gets to the blue line and dumps it into the Mount Juliet zone. Up, and another Mount Juliet player pulled down on the near side. Another penalty against Father Ryan. It's Sam Halloran going to the box for tripping, and this game is falling apart for Father Ryan. Mount Juliet back in the power play up 3-0 with 6:49 to go in the second. Dropping it to the right of Fonsbeck. It should be to his left because foul occurred in the left wing corner of the Mount Juliet zone. Draw one by Father Ryan. Gage Hart bringing it to center, back into the Mount Juliet zone on the left wing side. Gets to the other shot. Score! If he has to do it himself, he will. Gage Hart with a shorty. Just 8 seconds into the penalty kill. 3-1 Mount Juliet with 6:40 left in the second. Draw one by Father Ryan. Hudson Laux with it. Passing it ahead to Hart. Gage Hart. Right wing side of the Mount Juliet zone. Whiffed when he went to shoot. Back the other way come the Bears. Cade Ellenburg, left wing side of the Father Ryan zone. Shot, sent it to the front of the net. Steered away by Fonsbeck with a stick. Here's Antar. Passing it out to the blue line, Anthony Giampalo. Back to Ellenburg on left wing side of shots. Turned away by Fonsbeck. Antar turning around to shoot. Turned away by Fonsbeck as well with a glove. Hudson Laux fires it off the far boards. Held in the zone by Ellenburg. Jackson Blevins passing it down to the right wing corner, Antar. Back up top to the right point, and Blevins across to Ellenburg. Slap shot stopped by Fonsbeck. Rebound going out to the far boards, picked up by Smith. Less than a minute left in the power play for Mount Juliet. Smith in the slot, a shot hit a body and went past the net. Puck out on the far side, cleared by Hart. Smith will catch up to it at center. Hand it off to Blevins, who hands it back to Smith inside the Mount Juliet zone. Smith will bring it to center. Try to pass ahead to Ellenburg. Ellenburg up, we get a whistle. And we're going to have coincidentals here. The officials seem to be pointing at two players. Trenton Gorell's going to go to the box for Mount Juliet. Oh, too many men on the ice against Mount Juliet. That's the penalty. So it'll be 4-on-4 for 35 seconds. 5:24 left in the second. 3-1 Mount Juliet. Draw is going to be to the left of Shepard Hulsey. Father Ryan looked like they won it. Turned over to Mount Juliet. Less than 30 seconds left in the 4-on-4. Jackson Blevins passing it up the near side to center. Brendan Malloy with it near his own blue line, trying to send it back the other way. Blevins with a steal. He'll dump it back into the Father Ryan zone. Curtis Newman making his way to center on the near side. Back into the Mount Juliet zone on the left wings. Tried to send it to the front of the net. I think it was intercepted before it ever got to Shepard Hulsey. And then the puck ended up going off the boards and out of play. And the penalty time against Father Ryan is up. They're now on the power play for the next, I think, 85 seconds. 4:47 to go in the second. 3-1 Mount Juliet. Draw to the right of Hulsey. One by Mount Juliet, up, and I think we'll get another. Are we going to get another penalty again? Nope. It's going to be against Mount Juliet. And I think they called holding the stick. And it is against Cade Ellenburg. So Father Ryan going to have a 5-on-3 for 77 seconds. 4:40 to go in the second. They're trailing 3-1. Draw's going to be to Hulsey's right yet again. Father Ryan with a big chance to get within one on this 5-on-3. They killed a 5-on-3 earlier on in this second. Draw one by Mount Juliet, cleared. Fonz back out to play it. He'll leave it bottom of the left circle for Hudson Laux. Laux passing across the far side at center. Curtis Newman. Minute left in the 5-on-3. Puck carried back into the Mount Juliet zone. It's on the right. It's at the right point. Passed across. Gage Hart, a shot, missed the net to the right of Shepard Hulsey. Newman at the right point, moving along the blue line to the left wing side. Passing down to Hart. Hart trying an angle shot, trying to pass across the crease. And whoever was there at the left-hand post missed. I think it was Brendan Malloy. And Mount Juliet able to get to the puck and clear it out. Brought back in by Hart. Passed across. Malloy, a shot, missed the net to the left of Hulsey. 20 seconds left in the 5-on-3 for Father Ryan. Curtis Newman shot in the right point, blocked. Puck comes over to the left circle. A one-timer from Gage Hart turned away by Hulsey. Then a hit behind the net. And we're going to get another penalty off of this. So Father Ryan player still down behind the net, I think. And this is going to be against Jordan Ant, or is he just skating over to the bench? Okay, he's swapping with Ethan Smith. Do they blow the whistle because of a penalty, or do they blow the whistle because it's a player down behind the net and they just wanted to make sure he was okay? I think, okay. Wanted to make sure he was okay. I'm going to drop the puck at center in front of the Father Ryan bench. 3 seconds left in the 5-on-3. 3:26 to go in the second. 3-1 Mount Juliet. Won by the Bears and sent the other way. That'll kill off the 5-on-3. Father Ryan now in the 5-on-4 for 40 more seconds. Gage Hart, left wing side of the Mount Juliet zone. Around the back of the net. Comes out to the right wing, passes up to the right point. Is that McCullers or Laux? I'm not sure. Passes across to the left point. Back across, it's Laux, the right point. Passing down the boards to Hart. 10 seconds left in the 5-on-4. Here is Hart out of the blue line, passing to the right wing side. Laux passing to the right wing side, and Hart. And this shot stopped, and then the rebound try from Merrick McCullers in tight. Stopped and covered up by Hulsey. 1 second left of the 5-on-4. 2:41 to go in the second. Still 3-1 Mount Juliet. Draw is going to be to the left of Hulsey. And what is Zach Fonsbeck doing? He's coming way up the slot of his own zone. Now he's backing up towards his crease. Draw to the left of Hulsey. Won by Mount Juliet. Penalty time against them is up. They're back at even strength. Danny Libby dumps the puck back into the Mount Juliet zone. Puck on the far side. Passed ahead to Cade Ellenburg at center. Ellenburg brings it back into the Father Ryan zone on the right wing side. Top of the right circle. Passes across. And Jordan Antar with a body check. A hit on Emma Causey as the puck was coming across. And Antar is going to go to the box. Oh, and then Sam Halloran went after Antar, and he's going to go to the box. So there went a power play for Father Ryan. Interference against Antar. And I think they called roughing against Halloran. Now the officials are all gathered together at center and talking. How many penalties has Antar been called for in this one? Some of these guys are going to have to start being careful. Like Gage Hart and Hudson Laux have each been called for 2 penalties. This is Antar's second penalty of the game. Ellenburg's been called for 2. Again, this game got started half an hour late because the officials mistakenly went to Centennial and had to drive all the way down here after they were informed they were in the wrong place. Officials are now at the Father Ryan bench. They still haven't put Sam Halloran's penalty on the game sheet. So it stays 5-on-5, 2:17 left in the second, 3-1 Mount Juliet. Draw is going to be to the right of Fonsbeck. Won by Father Ryan. Puck cleared out to center. It's back in the Mount Juliet zone. Jackson Blevins gets to it, trying to backhand it out on the near side. Now the puck sliding through center on the far side, back into the Father Ryan zone, picked up by Danny Libby. Libby back to center on the near side, back into the Mount Juliet zone on the left wing. Had the puck taken away. Here's Cade Ellenburg. Left wing side of the Father Ryan zone. Gets round. Merrick McCullers gets to the front of the net, and his shot is gloved and held on to by Fonsbeck. 98 seconds left in the second. Still 3-1 Mount Juliet. Well, they called Halloran for they gave Halloran a 10-minute misconduct. Draws to Fonsbeck's right. Draw one by Mount Juliet. Taken away by the Irish. Michael Jaskowski, left wing side of the Mount Juliet zone, passing across. Puck in the right wing corner. Now the puck coming around the boards to the near side. Mount Juliet trying to get it out. They do. Jaskowski sends it back in. Here's Brendan Malloy with a shot in the left wing, turned away by Halsey. Puck put out in front. And Mount Juliet will bring it to center. Here is Reed Spencer, left wing side of the Father Ryan zone. Pass across, in front of backhander from Winston Hudson, stopped by Fonsbeck. And then Hudson goes crashing into the net and dislodges it. We're inside the final minute of the second, 52.1 seconds left in the second. Still 3-1 Mount Juliet as the net is put back in place. Draw will be on the dot in front of the Mount Juliet bench. Won by the Irish. Here is Hudson Laux, left wing side of the Mount Juliet zone. Trying to put the puck in front. It's stolen and brought back to center. Brought back into the Father Ryan end by Ethan Smith. Smith at the end boards behind the net. Battling with Merrick McCullers. Puck put out in front. It's taken and brought out to center by Laux. Less than 30 seconds left in the second. Laux, right wing side of the Mount Juliet zone. Sends the puck towards the front of the net. Steered away by Shepard Hulsey. Now the puck sent back into the Father Ryan zone. It's at the inboards. Cade Ellenburg putting it out in front. Stolen by Merrick McCullers. Given to Gage Hart. Then taken back at center by Mount Juliet. And that is finally it for the second period, which took over half an hour. Well, Mount Juliet scored 2 goals in 10 seconds. A power play goal for Anthony Giampaolo, then a penalty shot goal for Cade Ellenburg. And then Gage Hart with a shorty got Father Ryan on the board. Mount Juliet-Wilson, Central-Lebanon now leading Father Ryan 3-1 after 2. And the Henry Hine Cup Losers Bracket Final. I'll be back in a few seconds with the start of the third. But if you're listening on the YouTube podcast, we're going to go ahead and take you to the start of the third period. Ready to start the third period. Zach Fonsbeck still in goal for Father Ryan. Shepard Hulsey still in goal for Mount Juliet for this third period. Father Ryan will carry the puck towards me. Mount Juliet will carry it away from me. If Father Ryan tie this game up and the third period finishes that way, we'll go to a 3-on-3, 5-minute sudden death overtime. And if that doesn't resolve it, a shootout will. And this is the last game of the postseason. I'll explain that when I get a chance because the puck is in the Mount Juliet zone at the end boards. Gage Hart battling with Jordan Antar. Puck put out in front, stolen by Hudson Laux, and then it slides past the net to the left of Hulsey. Gage Hart couldn't get a stick on it. Passed out to the blue line. Curtis Newman with a shot off the right leg pad of Hulsey. Comes out to the near side, passes up to the right point. Danny Libby trying to dump it back down to the end boards. Knocked down by Trenton Gorell. Passes ahead to Jordan Antar. Antar flips it through the air back to center. Knocked down by Laux. Taken back by Ethan Smith. Carries it to the far side. It is in the Father Ryan zone on the stick of Curtis Newman. Puck back in the Mount Juliet zone. It quickly cleared out. Dumped back in by the Irish. Anthony Giampaolo gets to it on the far side, and he'll pass it ahead to Trenton Gorell out at center. Jackson Bruzinski brings it back into the Mount Juliet zone on the right wing side. Trying to pass to the slot. Intercepted by Giampaolo and cleared with the help of Cade Ellenburg. Here's Jordan Antar. Back into the Father Ryan zone on the left wing side. Trying to pass across to Ellenburg. Ellenburg on the right wing. Passing it back across to the left wing corner. Sent around to the far side by Merrick McCullers. And it ends up back in the Father Ryan zone as soon as it was cleared out to center. Now it's sliding back into the Mount Juliet end. Picked up by Dallas Riddell. Pass across to the near side, and Jackson Blevins whiffs on a pass attempt. Keeps the puck with him. Having to drop back into his own zone, trying to get away from Jackson Bruzinski. He'll fire it across to the far side. Parker Triplett, right wing side of the Father Ryan zone with a shot from the right wing board. Stopped and covered up by Fonsbeck. 11:51 left in regulation. Still 3-1 Mount Juliet. Again, this is the last game where we'll use the 5-minute 3-on-3 sudden death format for overtime. The championship games will be a full 14-minute 5-on-5 sudden death. And the shootout will be best of 5 instead of best of 3 like it would be in this game. Draw to the left of Fonsbeck. Won by Mount Juliet. Dallas Riddell dumps it back into the Father Ryan zone from center. Here's Gage Hart. Correction, Brendan Malloy bringing it back into the Mount Juliet zone. Hart is out there. Passing across. Right circle shot from Laux blocked by Dallas Riddell. Parker Triplett with it now. Sending it out to center. Dump back into the Mount Juliet zone with the Irish. Riddell gets to it. Fires it up the far side. Brendan Malloy just inside his own blue line. Banks it off the near boards back into the Mount Juliet zone. Riddell gets to it. Backhands it ahead to Reed Spencer, who moves down. Passes back to Riddell, who has plenty of space to carry it back to center. Riddell crosses the red line, dumps it back into the Mount Father Ryan zone, and goes to the bench for a change. Puck cleared out of the zone by Father Ryan. Dumped right back in by Trenton Gurrell. Puck out at center again. Jordan Antar fires it on goal from the referee's crease. Had to be turned away by Fonsbeck. Hudson Laux, left wing side of the Mount Juliet zone. Backhands it in front, off the stick of Anthony Giampaolo. Now Laux with it again on the near side. Passing across to Gage Hart, who backhands it up to the left point. Shot past the net to the right of Hulsey by Newman. Here's Anthony Giampaolo. Passing it ahead to Ethan Smith. Puck out at center still. Hudson Laux brings it back into the Mount Juliet zone. Taken away and cleared out by Smith. Merrick McCullers backhanding it to the near side. Curtis Newman back in the Mount Juliet zone. He'll fire it around the wall to the far side. Held in at the left point by Merrick McCullers, but given away to Anthony Giampaolo, and Ethan Smith will clear it out. Jordan Antar at center. Back into the Father Ryan zone on the left wing, taking a shot. Missed the net to the right of Fonsbeck. Puck back at center. Riddell backhands it back into the Father Ryan zone. It's Carter Spencer with a shot in the right wing boards off the right leg pad of Fonsbeck. Emma Causey crossing, I thought it was Emma. She is out there. That was Curtis Newman dumping it in. He goes to the bench for a change. Puck back in the Father Ryan zone. Big battle for the puck in the left wing corner. Fired up the near side. Comes to the left point. A one-timer from Jackson Blevins. It'll be turned away by Fonsbeck. Now the puck brought back into the Mount Juliet, actually brought to center by Danny Libby. He flips it through the air on goal, caught by Hulsey. He drops it and then decides to cover to get the whistle. And we just had a nice stretch of over 3 minutes without a whistle. Just over 3:20 without a whistle. 8:26 left in regulation. 3-1 Mount Juliet. Draws to Hulsey's left. It's won by Mount Juliet. Cleared down ice by Anthony Giampaolo. And it goes for an icing. Brendan Malloy could not get to it in time. Neither could, I think that's Cade Ellenburg, who was racing with him. Draws to Hulsey's left. Won by Father Ryan, and a shot from Hart. Stopped and covered up by Hulsey. So they'll drop it to his left again. Draw one by Mount Juliet. Cleared down ice by Anthony Giampaolo for another icing. So they'll drop it to Hulsey's left one more time. Father Ryan with it. Gage Hart comes out to the left wing side. Backs up towards the boards. Now moving down. Putting it on goal. Went off of Hulsey. It was under his legs. He couldn't find it. Now the puck drifts past the net to his right, and Antar trying to clear it out. It's held in by Brendan Malloy, and his shot from the top of the left circle, gloved and held onto by Hulsey. Big scare there for Mount Juliet. But Hulsey and the defense able to hold strong and keep them up 3-1 with 7:46 to go in regulation. Draw me to Hulsey's left again. Big battle for the puck off the draw. Irish come up with it. And skipping away from Danny Libby, he gains control on the left wing side, dumps it down to the inboards. It's coming around to the near side. Dallas Riddell pushing it ahead. Cleared out by Carter Spencer. Banked hard off the far boards. Back into the Father Ryan zone. Danny Libby will track it down. Libby passing ahead. Now Curtis Newman. Shot from the top of the left circle. Gloved and held onto by Hulsey. 7-11. 7-11. Get your big goal. Left in regulation. Still 3-1 Mount Juliet. Draw me to Hulsey's right this time. One by Mount Juliet, cleared down ice by Dallas Riddell. Icing waved off because it went off of Father Ryan sticking its way out. Curtis Newman will track it down in his own inboards. Here's Gage Hart. Carrying it through center. Pokes it into the Mount Juliet zone, but right to Jordan Antar, who clears. Here's Hudson Laux, left wing side of the Mount Juliet zone. Passing across to Jackson Brzezinski, can't find the puck. Antar trying to clear, it's held in at the right point. Dumped to the inboards by Brzezinski. Puck in the left wing corner. Sent up the far side by Dallas Riddell, but it was held in by Laux. Now Antar comes around to the near side. Sends it up to the right point. Oh, and it just went over the blue line, was kicked back in by Brendan Malloy and touched up offside by Gage Hart. 6:14 left in regulation, still 3-1 Mount Juliet. Draw one by the Bears, Trenton Gorell. Passing it up the far side. Here's Cade Ellenburg, left wing side of the Father Ryan zone. Trying to put it in front. Has to be held in at the left point by Anthony Giampaolo. Now Ellenburg sending it around the boards to the far side. Clearing attempt held in by Antar at the blue line. Passes back down the right wing to Ellenburg. Ellenburg trying to put it in front. Antar shot. Stopped by Fonsbeck, who's landed his back in the crease. And he's got it covered. Fonsbeck laying back in the crease, trying to keep Ethan Smith and Cade Ellenburg from jabbing in the rebound. 5:44 to go in the regulation, still 3-1 Mount Juliet. Draw be to Fonsbeck's left. One by Mount Juliet. Puck at the inboards behind the net. Brought out to the near side. Left at the left point for Giampaolo. Pass down to Ellenburg. Battling with Merrick McCullers. Now there's an even bigger battle for the puck in that left wing corner. Still up against the kick plate. And finally pulled out by Gage Hart. Hart to center. Back into the Mount Juliet on the left wing side with a soft shot that's off the stick of Hulsey, and he gloves it. Hang on for the whistle. 4:53 left in regulation. Still 3. And timeout has been called, I guess, by Father Ryan, as we're less than 5 minutes away from a shocker. The Hine Cup 1 seed, who finished the regular season with a record of 9-6-0, are on the verge of not getting into the final with a chance to repeat. That would be an all-time shocker. Shots on goal, according to the game sheet, 24-20 in favor of the Bears at the moment. Timeout done. Draw is going to be to Hulsey's right. And they dropped the puck, and somebody wasn't lined up right. They redrop, puck at the end boards. Coming up the far side, Ethan Smith with it. Banks it off the far kick plate. Intercepted by Gage Hart. Passes up to the left point, Curtis Newman. Back to Hart. Back to Newman, left point. Try to get it back to Hart. Stolen by Ethan Smith, who's going to ice it. Draw to the right of Hulsey again. Puck coming out to the bottom of the right circle, and Jaskowski backhands it on goal. Stopped by Hulsey with a glove. He didn't cover it up to let play continue. One time from the right point, Newman, it'll be turned away by Hulsey. Here's to the left point, Newman. Newman with a shot through traffic. Stopped and held on to by Hulsey. Had it between 4:09 to go in regulation. Still 3-1, Mount Juliet. Draw is going to be to Hulsey's right. Oh, Ethan Smith got tripped right off the draw. And it's Hudson Laux going to the box. And he better be careful, because that's 3 penalties against him. He gets one more, he's gone. And if Father Ryan don't win this game, he's suspended for their first game of the next season. So Mount Juliet back to the power play, up 3-1 with 4:06 to go in regulation. If they score on this power play, that's probably it. Draw is going to be to Fonsbeck's left. And a pass up to Trenton Gurrell at the right point. He wasn't ready for it. He has to chase it all the way back down into his own zone. Cade Ellenburg, right wing side of the Father Ryan zone, and the net, a shot stopped and held on to by Fonsbeck. Ellenburg has a chance at a hat trick. He scored the first goal of the game, just under 4:30 into it, and then he had that penalty shot goal in the second. Draw is going to be to the left of Fonsbeck again. Draw one by Mount Juliet. Trenton Gurrell sends it to the inboards. Puck behind the net, fired around to the far side. No. Now it comes up the far boards. There's Jordan Antar. Around the back of the net. Comes around to the near side. Trying to pass across to Gurrell, who was moving to the front of the net. It was deflected away. Gurrell with it now at the inboards, battling with Brendan Malloy. Now the Irish will carry it out. It's back in the Mount Juliet zone. Ellenburg with it. Sends it to the inboards, Antar. Fires it up the far side, Gurrell at center. Merrick McCullers passing it to Gage Hart. Hart back in the Mount Juliet zone on the left wing side. A shot just missed the net to the left of Hulsey. Parker Triplett passing it off to Ethan Smith. Correction, that's Jem Palo passing it off to Ethan Smith. Left wing side of the Father Ryan zone. Passing back up to the left half wall. Ellenburg firing it across the front of the net. Gage Hart going behind his own net. 30 seconds left in the power play for Mount Juliet. Puck out at center. Flick back into the Mount Juliet zone. It's going to the right wing corner. Michael Jaskowski gets there, puts it in front off the stick of Ellenburg. Ellenburg passing ahead to Reed Spencer out at center. Spencer back into the Father Ryan zone. Puck got away from him. Puck goes to the right wing corner. Spencer sending it around the kick plate to the near side. It's passed back across. That's back in the Mount Juliet zone. Penalty time against Father Ryan is up. They're back at even strength. Puck on the near side. Hudson Laux out in the high slot. Taking a shot over the net. Dallas Riddell gets to the rebound. Banks it hard off the end glass. Coming around on the near side, Reed Spencer with one hand pokes it out to center. Danny Libby with it for the Irish. When will they call Zach Fonsbeck to the bench? 90 seconds to go in regulation. Parker Triplett banks it off the far boards and out of his own zone. Brought back in by Hudson Laux. Gage Hart right point. Shot blocked. The net is empty for Father Ryan now. Jackson Blevins fires it out of the zone. Back into the Irish end. It's out at center. Brought back into the Mount Juliet zone. Taken away, last minute of regulation. And Ethan Smith. Shot was blocked. Dallas Riddell sending it into the Father Ryan zone. It's blocked in front of the empty net. Back the other way, come the Irish again. Michael Jaskowski shot. Gage Hart shot over the net from the top of the left circle. Puck out at center. Oh, there's going to be a penalty against Ethan Smith. Put his stick down and Brendan Malloy fell over it. But that's good news for Mount Juliet because now they can fire it down the ice as much as they want. A tripping call against Smith. Father Ryan back to the power play down 3-1 with 34.8 seconds left in regulation. Draw is to Hulsey's right. Again, Mount Juliet can fire it down ice as much as they want. They win the draw. Trenton Gurrell trying to clear it. And it ends up going into the scorekeeper box. Ends up in the Mount Juliet penalty box, actually. So they'll drop it to Hulsey's right again. Linesman telling Hudson Loucks to line up properly. They drop the puck. It's in the left wing corner. Sam Halloran puts it out in front off the stick of Merrick McCullers past the net to Hulsey's left. He puts it out in front again. Score! Halloran! Mount Juliet trying to argue that the net was out of place. Yeah, it was. They had to put it back in the moorings. Doesn't matter. 3-2 with 19.2 seconds left in regulation, so the Irish get within one. They convert their power play. Are they going to leave the net empty? Yep, they're going to leave the net empty. Even with a face-off at center. Merrick McCullers. Now Gage Hart back in the Mount Juliet zone. The puck taken away. Here's Cade Ellenburg into the Father Ryan zone, closing into the empty net, and he completes his hat trick. And Mount Juliet go back up by 2. 4-2 with 7.7 seconds left. And unbelievably, Father Ryan, the Hine Cup 1 seed, who won 9 games in the regular season, are not going to go to the final. It's going to be 5-seeded Mount Juliet. Zach Fonsbeck back in goal for the Irish, whose season is about to come to a stunning end. Draw one by Mount Juliet. Anthony Giampalo sends it into the Father Ryan zone. Oh, the clock hadn't started. Now it does. And it runs down to 0, and Mount Juliet-Wilson, Central-Lebanon, the 5 seed, are going to play in the Henry Hine Cup Final as they beat Father Ryan 4-2. What a run through the losers bracket. So in both tournaments, we have a team that got dropped into the losers bracket in the first round and they got to the final. MBA in the Preds Cup as the 2, Mount Juliet as the 5 in the Hine Cup. Wow. Wow. Unbelievable. Simply unbelievable. That is incredible. Amazing. What a game. What a night. I mean, it just shows you in that January meeting, Mount Juliet quit in the third. They quit in the third. And Father Ryan won 9 games in the regular season, only missed out on the Preds Cup because they and Station Camp finished with the exact same record, and Station Camp got the last Preds Cup spot on the head-to-head. Holy heck. Holy heck. That is unbelievable. So the goal scorers in this one for Father Ryan, Gage Hart, and Sam Halloran. A hat trick for Cade Ellenburg. A night after Jordan Antar had a hat trick against JP2 and Anthony Giampalo with the other goal. So Cade Ellenburg will be our player of the game. Cade Ellenburg had a shorthanded goal, a penalty shot goal, and an empty netter. Those were his 3 goals. Wow. Wow. As Mount Juliet win this one 4-2. And now we look forward to Monday. So here is the schedule for Monday. Both games on the Chris Brink in Bellevue, 6 p.m. The Hine Cup Final, Mount Juliet against Independent Centennial. Mount Juliet have to beat Indy to force Wednesdays if necessary. Then at 8:15, the Preds Cup Final, MBA taking on Nolensville. MBA have to beat Nolensville to force Wednesdays if necessary. They're championship games, so we will do an ice cut after the second period. That's why the time slots are so big. That's why we're starting at 6 p.m. in the Hine Cup. And then on Wednesday, the 2 if games on Rink A at Centennial. If both if games have to be played, the Hine Cup would go first at 5:30, and then the Preds Cup at 7:45. If only one tournament needs its if, then it would go first at 5:30, followed by the All-Star game at 7:45. That's what I've been told. Now, that might change. That might change in the next little bit. I would not be surprised if the ifs got moved to Tuesday. Now, I haven't heard anything. I'm not saying they're going to be moved to Tuesday. I'm just saying a couple years ago in 2024, there was a plan to have the Preds Cup if followed by the All-Star game. The Hine Cup had already wrapped up at this point. But then they found out that a lot of the players in the Preds Cup, this was the first Preds Cup final between Ensworth and Ravenwood, a lot of the players from that final wouldn't be able to play on Wednesday, an if game on Wednesday, because there was a big travel tournament in Charlotte that weekend, and a bunch of them had, a lot of those players had to be there. So they would not have been able to they would not have been able to play on Wednesday in an if. So they moved to if the Tuesday. So all those players got to play, and then they missed the All-Star game next night, but, no big deal. They played in a bigger game the night before. If neither tournament needs it if necessary, I don't know what time the All-Star game would start. I asked Gary Anderson, and I never heard back from him. So, okay. All right, Father Ryan, in terms of departing seniors, we'll be saying goodbye to just Michael Jaskoski and Merrick McCullers. They're going to be bringing back quite a lot of good players next year. Gage Hart, obviously, Hudson Laux, Sam Halloran, Curtis Newman. So that group getting more experience. But, wow, I cannot believe the Irish are out. The Irish are out. They don't even make the Hine Cup Final. They won 9 games in the regular season. They were the 1 seed. They were the heavy favorite. They don't even make the final. My God. I cannot believe that. Okay, before we get off, want to send an on-air shout-out to Chris and Amy Hart, parents of Gage Hart and Thomas Laux, father of Hudson Laux. They purchased our full-season membership package of perks on our Buy Me a Coffee page. They get their name listed in the GNASH newsletter, which is published almost daily. They're getting this on-air shout-out for any and all Father Ryan games I broadcast this season, and they're going to get this, even though I don't know if they want to listen to it, and any and all Father Ryan games that I broadcast this season as a downloadable MP3. The playoff memberships expired. So this is the new thing I'm offering. If you are a fan of Mount Juliet, Indy, MBA, or Nolensville, and you did not purchase a full season membership, we're offering you a chance to get in on it for just $5. $5. You will get an on-air shout-out. This is good for both games. If necessary is forced, this is good for both games. You will get an on-air shout-out from me at the end of the Hine Cup Final or Preds Cup Final, whichever one you're paying for, and you'll get the game as a downloadable MP3. Just go to MTSN. Just go to buymeacoffee.com, BUYMEACOFFE.com/Mid-10 Sportsnet, MIDETN SPORTSNET. And where it says Support Middle Tennessee Sports Network, in the top right-hand corner, type in $5 Tell me what team you're supporting so I'll know which game to shout you out for. Again, that's buymeacoffee.com, buymeacoffee.com/Mid10 Sportsnet, MIDTN SPRTSNET, and click in the top right-hand corner where it says Support Middle Tennessee Sports Network. Type in $5. Tell me what team you're rooting for, and you'll be set. And, it took us half an hour, but that's it. It took us half an hour longer because the refs mistakenly went to Centennial, but they got here and we got the game in. What a run for the losers bracket for Mount Juliet. This is the last game of the season scheduled to be played here in Antioch. I want to thank the folks at Ford Ice Center in Antioch for letting me come out and do these games. Did a game for 4 straight weeks, and we didn't have any games here until December, and then we didn't have any more until January. I did those 2 games. Wow. Thank you all so much for listening. I'm Michael Ackney. Have a great weekend. It's time to crown some champions. We'll talk to you on Monday at 5:50 pregame for a 6 o'clock face-off for the Hine Cup Final and 8:05 pregame for an 8:15 face-off for the Preds Cup Final. Good night, everybody, from Antioch. Have a great weekend. Talk to you Monday.